Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MLG North American League and Full Sail LAN. We are at I guess it's technically an online tournament, but it is at a LAN in Full Sail in the Orlando, Florida area. We have the first match of the tournament coming up here. Oh boy, Team Dignitas versus Typical Mistakes, aka Pretty Boy Swag as they were formerly known. Thank you for joining us here on Dota Radio. I'm Zyori. Joining me as always is Hippie. How you feeling today, pal?
Doing good, man. Excited to see some of this. The North American scene growing is something I couldn't be happier about. The fact that we're actually getting North American tournaments, North American lands, because Dota has always been a Europeans game and you know, an Asians game. And now finally, we're showing our faces.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And like I mentioned, we've caught a little bit of this league kind of intermittently, but not as much as we would have liked. We focused much more on the European side of things, so it's great to see North America finally representing. And we'll see how this match goes. I believe Dignitas is the favorite in this match. We don't have a joint Dota match, so we can't see the actual percentages, but I think just based on the standings, Dignitas is kind of the favorite here coming up. Let's take a look at the bans. Dignitas going to start us off with bans on Naga and Lifestealer, and Typical Mistakes, again, aka Pretty Boy Swag, going to take out the Elder Titan as well as the Outworld Devourer in their first two bans. You know, these days it kind of feels like we're at that point again where there are too many scary heroes and not enough bans, because obviously some scary ones going to get through. Dignitas going to first pick Bat Rider. Typical Mistakes actually going to grab Troll Warlord and Alchemist as their first two picks, and that will leave Team Dignitas open to pick up a Wisp to go with Bat Rider. So very scary heroes on the board to start us off, Hippie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, those are I think the only one that isn't almost always first phase material in some way, shape, or form is Alchemist. And he's someone who still is a very, very strong carry, and if you're concerned about him getting banned out in the second phase, he can occasionally be worth it, because he is kind of a situational ban in that second phase. If you see a team with a couple of supports that say, oh man, you could do really well with an Alchemist, you could farm him up really well, and your team is, you know, maybe not the kind of team that's going to support a particularly hard carry, getting rid of him can be very useful. So it's certainly not a bad pick, it's just an unusual one.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. And as we mentioned yesterday, the thing about Alchemist that makes him so scary isn't necessarily his abilities as much as his ability just to get that 6th slot completely capped out way faster than virtually any other hero if left unchecked, because if you go that Greevil's Greed first, get an early Midas, I mean, the farm is just unmatched, and that's where Alchemist really shines. But alas, we do have a few more bans coming out here. Dignitas going to take out Visage as well as the Clockwork, and Typical Mistakes going to go ahead and third ban on the Nyx, and they're going to break into the reserve time here to decide what they want to do with that fourth ban. And Troll Warlord, is it pretty much safe to say that Troll Warlord is looking like the mid hero for TM?
It's likely. It's not set in stone, but I would bet on it. Although against a Bat Rider, he's gonna have a lot of trouble, man. They don't have a mid right now that deals with a Bat Rider, and there aren't that many of those. It's mostly OD who does that really, really well. Lone Druid can kind of do it. Kunkka can kind of do it because he gets the good free harass, but it's still not great. You know, he's still going to have problems with Napalm, and he still can't get into last hit particularly well. So, I don't know. You'd assume he's going mid. The Alchemist could theoretically do it and try to win the lane with Acid Spray, but it's... if I'm going to be sacrificing someone to the Bat Rider, I'd rather it be the Troll than the Alchemist, because the Troll at least can do a little bit just by having his ultimate and his really good nukes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they're going to try to tri-lane that Alchemist with the Enchantress, it looks like Typical Mistakes are gearing up for a pretty damn aggressive tri-lane. I mean, those two heroes alone can really put on a lot of pressure in the early levels. Of course, one of the things about Enchantress that makes her so great is the ability to grab 2 creeps at level 1, which is a unique property about her. So some of that really early level aggression is always a possibility when she's on the field. We'll see what Dignitas wants to do with their third pick, though. They're going to break into their reserve time now to see what they want to pair with the Wisp as well as the Bat Rider. Still a lot of choices. Of course, what are they going to do with that Wisp is the age-old question, and we've been seeing it sort of an increasing frequency, those classic combos not being played as much, and Wisp just being sort of played in that position 5 support, tethering to whoever it's convenient, and not having that classic sort of EO Tiny, EOCK, where they're just attached to the hip the entire match.
Well, you always want to draft a carry who's kind of good with Wisp to an extent, but Wisp gets more useful the more people on your team he can effectively relocate gank with. So he's already got one in the Bat Rider. If you can drop a Bat Rider on top of somebody who's further away than usual, you can get some really easy kills on anyone who's overextended. If you get him with like the Nyx assassin who got banned out, that's I think probably one of the prime reasons that happened is because a Nyx is not only a really good support who can gank really effectively, but if he can be dropped on top of someone and doesn't need any sort of self-positioning stuff going on, he can be super hard to deal with.
Yep, Dignitas going to go ahead and third pick the Bane here to go with their EO and Bat Rider, so still a pretty open-ended draft. And typical mistakes right away going to fourth pick that Bounty Hunter to be paired with their Enchantress, Alchemist, and Troll Warlord. So a very aggressive lineup they have thus far. Again, probably, pardon me, going to just need that second support for their final pick, but if they do the Troll mid, Bounty Hunter offlane, that's a lot of aggression they'll be able to get going if Bounty Hunter has a good time, and especially if Team Dignitas put Bat Rider in the offlane / jungle and kind of sack it to the Bounty Hunter. He's going to have a good time. He'll hit 6 pretty quickly and could roam around, set up those track kills, and, well, pretty boy swag, again, aka typical mistakes. Well, could be off to the races pretty early on if that Bounty Hunter gets out of control based on the other aggression they've already got on the field.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially if that Alchemist kind of goes for a more aggressive sort of build. Like maybe he skips the Midas, goes a Shadow Blade, gets early phase boots, goes for early stun. He'll be able to make up a lot of the lost farm from Grievel's Greed and no Midas just through track kills by just going around with that Bounty Hunter and murdering people. And then, of course, turning around, acid spray down a couple stacks of creeps. Like if the Enchantress starts to stack some stuff up for him and he just kills it all with acid spray, he can still get a lot of farm off of that Grievel's Greed. But he'll also be getting all that track gold. I mean, that's basically what Bounty Hunter is a farm accelerator for all of your gankers, as well as obviously a particularly potent ganker himself.
Yep. And Queen of Pain is going to be the fourth pick for Dignitas, and sort of an interesting choice. We haven't seen a lot of Queen of Pain action as of late. She's sort of fallen off in popularity since TI3, but still a very powerful hero, especially with one that's quite skilled. I believe Korok is kind of known for his Queen of Pain plays. So very well, maybe a Queen of Pain mid with that Bat Rider, again, jungling / offlaning, or they could do the safe lane Queen of Pain to go up against the Bounty Hunter. We've certainly seen that a time or two, and could work quite nicely for them. Dignitas going to final ban the Rubik, and typical mistakes going to take that final ban out onto the Ursa, of course, one of the classic heroes to go with the EO. That will open up for a Timbersaw. Final pick for typical mistakes to go with their Bounty Hunter, Enchantress, Alchemist, and Troll Warlord.
I think that's a support Alchemist. That's. I mean, I'm looking at all this. You can't really do support Timbersaw. You can't do support Bounty Hunter. I mean, they both need to be somewhere where they're getting their levels. So the only one, an Alchemist, because I mean, as he gets later in the game, he can pick up a little bit because he'll put some points into Greed later. But I think this is going to be Tri-Lane Troll and support Alchemist, which is going to be really weird. Or maybe they want to go aggressive, and they went now not with an Enchantress. They probably don't want to go aggressive against that.
Yeah.
Because if you get a bad first creep spawn, that pretty much kills your entire potential in an aggressive tri-lane if you're risking it with Enchantress or Chan. Like if you get a good creep spawn, it can be insanely powerful because they are one of the few heroes that can actually kind of safely get some jungle camps in the enemy jungle.
Right.
But then you end up like, well, if we get like a Satyr or something, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, so, and Chaos Knight is going to be the final pick for Dignitas here to go with their Queen of Pain, Bane, EO, and Bat Rider. So that classic combination. I always love that one statistics. Chaos Knight paired with Wisp has something about a 60-65% win rate in competitive games. CK without Wisp has like a 40% win rate. So that's a hero that is just unbelievably more powerful when he has that taxi service. The mobility lets him farm so quickly. As we always go back to, one of the problems with Chaos Knight is if he gets shut down early, it's hard for him to recover. He doesn't have a lot of flash farming mechanisms, and he can kind of fall off if he doesn't get some of that early momentum. So can be a little bit of a gamble when you grab him, but with a Wisp, it's usually a pretty safe bet, at least according to the numbers.
Yeah, one of the other things that works really nicely with Chaos Knight is if the Wisp is tethered to him and he does the Reality Rift, it'll almost universally hit the tether stun on the Rift, so you don't need to position or anything for it. It's just automatic. And then after that, you can worry about, okay, now my stun is over, now I throw, or now the tether stun's over, now I throw my stun, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then the Wisp can just come in and obviously blow up spirits on the stunned guy. It gets pretty nasty. Chaos Knight has some pretty furious damage output in the early mid-game.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true, and you're right. You can't underestimate the damage that the Wisp spirits can put out. That's one of those things you see them, and yeah, okay, they finish off kills, but you don't realize that they do a pretty solid amount of damage with that gank potential, and Chaos Knight also a hero, a little bit susceptible to kiting. Of course, he has the stun, the gap closer, but after those are done, you can kind of kite him around a little bit, and Wisp with the tether makes it a lot harder for folks to get away and easier for Chaos Knight to lock him down and get some of those crazy crits off and take him down nice and quick. We are stuck in a pause here, though. It looks like someone on the side of Dignitas lost a monitor. We can actually take a glance at the MLG stream here. Sort of unfortunate. Hopefully they can get it all fixed up. The bane of live events, huh? Technical issues are, I guess, about just impossible to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, if something does go wrong, at least it's something that'll be fixed a lot more easily. Because if somebody is like, well, my router blew, I guess I'm out, or well, my monitor's screwed, I guess I gotta go and buy a new one. You'd expect at a LAN event they'd have some extra hardware on hand in case of emergencies like this. It doesn't really bode well that for the very first game of this tournament we're having some stuff like this go wrong, but hopefully it'll get worked out and we won't run into anything more like that.
Yeah. So I just want to say, I see someone in chats saying, MLG, nobody can hear you on Dota TV. This is not the official MLG stream. This is the Dota Radio audio-only stream. You can find the actual audio-only low-bandwidth stream at dotaradio.com, and this is just the Twitch counterpart. We are not official broadcasters. We are not in Dota Radio, so sorry if you think that. But the official casters, I think, are Gods and Merlini, who are on Dota TV and on the official MLG stream, which is on MLG or MajorLeagueGaming.com. So, full disclosure there, folks. Yeah, but welcome. Thank you for joining us on Dota Radio. Okay.
We just do it because we love you guys.
Yes, big hearts, big hearts. So, all right, let's go ahead and introduce our rosters here. On the Dire side, we do have Team Dignitas. I think that at least the fan favorite here in this match on the Chaos Knight is going to be Bleak. He will be supported by the Wisp, and that is going to be played by 1437. BD is going to be supporting on the Bane. All three of them headed down to that bottom lane right now. Korok going to get his Queen of Pain. Looks like he'll be headed to the mid lane, and that leaves Infinity up in the top lane, the solo safe lane for that Bat Rider. Now on our Radiant side, we do have Team Typical Mistakes, also known as Pretty Boy Swag. They are going to have Juby on the Alchemist. I'm a Sheep playing on the Enchantress. Ryu going to be playing on the Timber Saw. Cakes on the Bounty Hunter. And Sleesel on the Troll Warlord. Hopefully those pronunciations were at least close, as, well, slightly lower profiles. You don't hear those names quite as often, and we'll see exactly how these lanes settle down. They have sort of an interesting roster. We're still assuming that's going to be a support alchemist based on his items. Looks like that will hold true. At present, looks like it may be a Timber Saw mid, Troll Warlord try down in the bottom lane, and then that Bounty Hunter in the solo long lane up against the Bat Rider. So should be interesting here. Bounty Hunter versus Bat Rider. I think both of them will be very happy with the farm that they'll be able to accrue. Although, looks like Dignitas may be calling an audible here at the line of scrimmage as CK is rotating up towards the top now.
Yeah, it looked like after that jungle invasion, not seeing anyone down there, I don't know, maybe they figured that it was going to be a try up here. Maybe Dignitas is trying to go for the try, but at the same time, I'm not really sure it's that important to them. And actually, Bat Rider are going to be in a little bit of trouble. He's looking for camps right here, and he doesn't realize that both of his rotation camps are, in fact, warded off right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right. There's a ward here on the backside of the hard camp. His easy camp down as well. Wisp going to come in and throw down a sentry. Will be in range, but not going to have the vision, I don't think. They may need to fly the courier over. There it is. Going to be able to break down the trees with the tether. Nicely done. And there's another sentry down here blocking that other kind of easy camp. So you're exactly right. Bat Rider will be off to a little bit of a slow start. He's going to head over to the pull camp and start picking up a little bit of recovery for him. We saw Bane already rotate towards the mid lane, of course, harassing back that Timber Saw a little bit with the Enfeeble. And, well, that's going to give Quap just a small advantage here to start things off in the mid. Already Korok 6-2 in last hits, and that Timber Saw only 1-0. So just 1 Enfeeble, and already Korok is kind of off to the races, so to speak. And up here in the top lane, Bounty Hunter going to be in some trouble. Chaos Knight's going to initiate. Wisp going to come in with a tether, going to burn a dust right away. Bane going to work his way up here. And Cake's getting very low on that Bounty Hunter. A few more auto attacks ought to do it. Down he goes. 1437 on the Wisp. Going to be able to get that one last auto attack off. And that's going to be the first kill on the board here at the 1 minute and 40-second mark.
Yeah, coming back from his time in China. Looks like he hasn't really lost anything. Still playing quite well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Little tether, getting those auto attacks, free first blood, NBD.
Yep. Very nicely done. It's as easy as that, especially with the early smoke. Bounty Hunter's only escape mechanism is the invis, so you take that out of the equation, and ends up being a pretty easy gank. Not only is it great to grab that first blood, of course, but shutting down Bounty Hunter early on is absolutely fabulous. We see him now box out of the lane as he is solo up against sort of a tri-lane. Right now it's just a duo lane of the Wisp and the Chaos Knight, but he's completely boxed out now that he's kind of a level back. Chaos Knight is level 3, Wisp is level 2, and Bounty Hunter still just now hitting level 2, so he has had a bit of an experience disadvantage, and well, that'll slow down that kind of roam timing that we were talking about, where if he hits level 6 quickly, he can pick up some of those trap kills, and this farm-intensive team of typical mistakes could really start to get out of control.
Oh, but look at this bottom. Look at the bottom lane. They've already taken a tower and they're working on the tier 2.
Oh god.
Between acid spray, between enchantress creeps, the nuke that comes out from troll. Troll is actually really good at clearing and tanking creeps, just cutting a little bit because of the whirling axes. Not only is it a really good nuke, but it's just the fact that with the blind, he doesn't actually take a whole lot of damage when he's tanking, even though he doesn't traditionally go a shield or anything like that. So that's a tier 2 tower in the bottom lane, already down on the side of Dignitas, and that's a pretty good start in terms of gold right there for typical mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the 3-minute mark, and they've already taken out a tier 2 tower, and now they're leading by about 2,200 gold. They are trailing by 1 kill, but still those towers kind of make it worthwhile a little bit. And we'll see what that little bit of early gold boost does. It'll certainly help out this mid lane a little bit, as Timbersaw still struggling to farm a little bit, not quite as bad as it was. He's sitting 13-1 now against the 18-4 Queen of Pain, but that little bit of bonus gold that he has, he's going to now have the bottle, going to be able to complete that magic wand. Well, it's in the bank right now, but also has those boots of speed, so he's actually been able to get his boots ahead of the Queen of Pain despite being behind in this lane, which is just great news for typical mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's, Timbersaw traditionally has some problems against Queen of Pain. Shadow Strike is incredibly frustrating for any melee hero. I mean, screwing with your move speed in the lane, making it harder to position yourself, especially because Timber is trying to position himself to land a Whirling Death, not just to last hit, but to try and hit the Quap as well. It gets really, really frustrating to be a Timber, and also because Shadow Strike is her primary method of harass, it means that his reactive armor isn't kicking in like it would be against anyone who's auto attack harassing him. So it can be a really awful lane for him, and that extra gold that he's gotten has definitely helped him get into a much better position. He's about even on farm, and the fact that he's keeping his bottle coming out constantly is really, really helping him out a lot here.
Yep. You're exactly right, and if you look at the net worth chart, Timbersaw is actually ahead of the Queen of Pain by a couple hundred gold now, so those towers proving very effective to start things off. And of course, the Troll Warlord, we haven't talked about him too much, but Sleesel down here, he's only level 4 because of that tri-lane, but he is pretty stacked. He's at about 2.4k on the net worth chart here as we're about to approach the 5-minute mark. Already has the phase boots, 2 iron branches, 1 ring of Basilius, and a healing salve. So he's actually pushed up pretty far right here, though. He's about where that tier 2 tower would be, just farming at the creeps, and that's one thing that's sort of unfortunate about pushing those towers so early on. To farm this lane now, he has to push so far into enemy territory, and right now I guess he's fairly safe, but once Wisp hits level 6, he's not going to be able to farm this lane nearly as easily as he is now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the more pressure they can put on and the more map control they can take away before the Wisp hits 6, the better off they're going to be. The more of the map they can kind of utilize, the more safe space there is, the more wards they can take down, more counter warding and warding they can do for themselves, the less of a threat the Wisp is. I mean, the Wisp is the biggest threat when the map is well warded, when there's not a whole lot of places the enemy team can be, and so that Wisp is able to kind of just find that one person who's sitting there farming and just pick them off. Yep. Or, when they're able to find a couple people, start a fight, and then Wisp drops in, makes it an asymmetrical engagement. And Bane getting just murdered by that troll as soon as we unpause right there.
Yeah, that was just completely, the troll went straight in, dropped everything he had, the whirling axes, and just started chopping that wood. Juby came in with an unstable concoction towards the end, and that was it. I mean, Bane just can't handle it. Bane's reasonably low level, only level 4 right now, as is the troll still, well, level 5 now after that bit of experience, but just an easy kill. There's not much you can do against the troll. You certainly can't auto-attack him. Bane used the brain sap, but of course only mitigating a little bit of, or recovering a little bit of damage there. And that's going to tie it up. Now going to be 1-1 here. We're at the 5.5 minute mark.
Pain.
Yep.
They want Queen of Pain.
Yep, they are going to be she's going to be in big trouble here. They are going to smoke through that bottom rune spawn. They're going to engage with the Unstable Concoction. She will blink, so Korak going to be able to get ahead of them a little bit here. Bat Rider going to come in, and they're not going to be able to follow up. Well played by Korak to stay alive. Now Enchantress going to come in. Going to be able to use the Nature's Attendants. Needs to be a little careful, though. Chaos Knight going to come in as well. That'll be the end of the Bat Rider as Timbersaw re-engages, and I don't know if they're going to be able to finish off the Chaos Knight. Maybe they will. Ryu going to be able to Timber Chain across. Now Enchantress coming back in, laying ranged Whirling Axe is going to connect, and Bleak going to be in big trouble. Down he goes. That's going to make it a 2-for-1 in favor of Typical Mistakes. Dignitas losing their Chaos Knight and their Bat Rider for only the support Alchemist. Talk about a great exchange for Typical Mistakes.
Man, you know what really, really cost them right there is they just underestimated the Timbersaw damage. They walked in, they're like, all right, we got 3 guys, and they tightly packed themselves up, and Timbersaw just annihilated them with just a couple of nukes, and that's exactly what he does when he's got levels. He's level 7. He's no slouch in terms of his XP right now. He probably was only level 6 when that started, quite frankly. He probably got the extra level off of that chase, considering he was, you know, present for 3 kills.
Bounty
but
Hunter.
Still,
oh,
Bounty.
That's going to be a free kill for Dignitas right there. Again, Wisp hitting level 6, setting up those easy kills. And there you have it. Now going to be tied up 3-3 at the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, Chaos Knight just using that scimitar of his, just hacking away, taking him down. And that's, you know, there's almost nothing you can do as a solo hero, unless you're a tanky hero. If you're someone squishy, there's very little you can do to react to a Chaos Knight Wisp.
Yep.
And you're pretty much, you're going to die in... You're going to get Reality Rifted on, which is going to proc the Tether Stun. You're going to get a bunch of spirits hitting you, and then you're going to get stunned and just smacked down by the Chaos Knight, who puts out a pretty crazy amount of damage, as I mentioned.
Yep, already he's got those power treads, going to be able to complete the magic wand. Now he's going to have a bracer, undoubtedly going to be moving into the Drum of Endurance there. So Chaos Knight is already hitting pretty damn hard for the 7.5-minute mark. Pardon me, looks like we're going to see an engage in the mid lane here. Wisp going to go in, but whoa, Korok as well as 1437 going to get taken out right away. That's the Queen of Pain and the Wisp. Is again, they just seem to really underestimate the damage that Typical Mistakes can put out. That Timbersaw doing a huge amount with the Chakram, as well as Alchemist getting a nice and stable concoction. I just want to point out here, folks, Typical Mistakes and Pretty Boy Swag are the same team. I see a lot of folks saying, where's the Dignitas versus Pretty Boy Swag team? This is the same match. Pretty Boy Swag, Typical Mistakes, the exact same thing. Use them interchangeably, but I believe Typical Mistakes is their official name, and they used to be known as Pretty Boy Swag. So with that, they're going to take another tower here in the mid lane. So Dignitas in a little bit of trouble here, Hippie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're starting to fall behind, excuse me. Over 3,000 gold, an advantage for Typical Mistakes. Only about 750 experience. And oh, Beta is going to be in so much trouble. That pure damage coming out. 1437 might be next with the Timbersaw maybe able to catch up. Nice tether out to the creep wave. He should be okay. Oh, the Chakram slowed him down, but it wasn't quite enough. 15 HP.
Oh, man. Very close call indeed. Queen of Pain was able to finish off Alchemist while all that was happening. Timbersaw going to be in some trouble now. The Queen of Pain ulti going to come out. It is going to connect with the Timbersaw, but he's a damn tanky force now. He's got that point booster as well as the Arcane Boots. He is going to be able to Timber Chain to the high ground. He's still in enemy territory. 1437 on the Wisp is playing with fire right now, but he is going to be able to bait it out, and that will cost Timbersaw his life. Very nicely done by the Wisp to play the role of the bait, and of course he fell for it. So Dignitas going to be able to get a little bit of cleanup action there, and it is going to be 6-5 in the total hero kill count. Typical Mistakes, aka Pretty Boy Swag, still leading by 1 kill, but they've got a nice 5,000 gold lead set up for themselves as the tower count is still 3-1.
Yeah, and those towers are gonna really be telling us a serious story this game. I mean, basically, I think I said it yesterday. You know, if they get the advantage off the towers and never let it get returned, that's huge. On the other hand, if they start like losing a couple fights, diving a little bit too far, like they just did right there, and then lose those towers, then it just ends up being a null, and they've lost any advantage the towers gave them. It's not like they got better tower farm throughout the map.
That's true, and here at the top tier 1 tower on the Dire side, we'll see some initiation. Timbersaw is going to dive in on the Bane. B-Diz is going to get dropped like he's hot once again. That's now going to be 7-5 as we approach the 10-minute mark here. Typical Mistakes being so aggressive. Again, we talked about this roster being one that it could be a little bit of a double-edged sword. They all need a lot of farm, but with a hero like Bounty Hunter starting to rack up those track kills, that's A-okay. They got those early towers, so they have the farm, and now these scary heroes that are often very farm-reliant are getting out of control. They are going to take out the last remaining tier 1 tower for Team Dignitas, taking the total tower count now 4-0 in favor of our Radiant side. All 5 of them still in the top lane. Enchantress going to use the Nature's Attendants to heal them up, and they're just going to press forward. No reason to stop. They may be able to trade this top tier 2 tower for perhaps one of their tier 1s, as it looks like Dignitas may want to pressure that mid tier 1 tower. So things starting to look a little bit grim for Dignitas, though there are a few redeeming qualities. Chaos Knight is farming very well. He is level 8. He's number 3 on the net worth chart at about 3.8k, and as you mentioned, once they grab towers, that gap will start to level out, and this Chaos Knight could quickly get out of control. Point in case right here. He's going to find a Timbersaw. He's going to initiate. Wisp going to come in, but uh-oh, Wisp taking a lot of damage. Wisp actually going to fall as Timbersaw gets a great Chakram off. It is going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. Bane going to get that last hit on the Timbersaw, but Bounty Hunter will be able to finish off the Wisp. So unfortunately for Dignitas, almost a free kill, but Timbersaw able to put out the damage again. same thing we mentioned before. It seems like they just keep underestimating the amount of pure damage that Timbersaw can put out, my man.
Well, it was just they didn't realize they were about to get turned around on by a bounty hunter. That was all.
And the action going to continue here. Timbersaw actually going to buy back. He'll port to that tier 1 tower where Dignitas were continuing to pressure. Bane going to get taken out yet again. Poor Beat just not having a great game here. 500 on the net worth right now. But TM still in good shape. They're going to engage on the Queen of Pain. Whoa, a couple of uphill misses from the Enchantress. Korok may have a chance to survive. He's going to be able to blink away. The Impetus not going to connect. Oh my god, the Great Escape going to be made. The Timber Chain forward. Wisp going to tether to the Queen of Pain. Could be in a little bit of trouble though. Oh, they're going to be able to get that relocate off, and that's going to keep Queen of Pain alive. Very nicely played between the two of them. But oh no, Chaos Knight going to get left behind. Now he's going to get caught out between the tier 2 and the tier 3 in that mid lane on the Dignitas side of the map, and typical mistake, still going to be able to take a great fight right there. Going to now be 10-6 as we move into that 12-minute mark.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need. More track kills, more gold advantage. They need Dignitas to commit to these fights and then lose. If Dignitas can manage to just kind of hold on, spread out and farm, and get the Chaos Knight a little bit more, he did just finish his drum, so he's doing a little bit better on the item farm, but once he gets his armlet is really when his damage output starts to get kind of absurd. But it's already going to be, it's going to be a little bit slow. He's now 5th on the net worth chart. He's only at about 4,000. His GPM in particular is only 346, and if you compare that to the higher typical mistakes heroes, Timbersaw is farming 481, Troll's farming 450, and Bounty is farming 370. So the fact that your Chaos Knight, who is not really an amazingly hard carry, he's someone who's supposed to kind of snowball into an advantage he gets from kills in the early game, is farming behind 3 similarly styled heroes on the other side, that's a really bad sign.
Yep. Absolutely right. I can't agree with you more, my friend. And I just love the aggression coming out from Pretty Boy Swag here. They smoked up in the mid lane. They're looking to try and perhaps catch someone off guard in the dire jungle as we speak. Unfortunately, not going to find someone. It's going to be the other way around. They're going to get engaged on. Timbersaw going to be the target of choice. He is going to get lassoed by the Bat Rider, though he will be able to survive for now. Wisp actually going to be the first to go down, but Queen of Pain going to be able to get a big ulti off. That'll finish off the Bounty Hunter as well as the Enchantress. Chaos continuing to ensue, and it's looking good for Dignitas. Looks like it's going to be a 1-for-3 exchange. Their Wisp in exchange for the Enchantress, Alchemist, and the Bounty Hunter of Team Typical Mistakes. So Dignitas getting a much-needed team fight victory right there. That's going to help curb this gold graph just a little bit, but it will give them the experience advantage once again. So Dignitas showing us there's still a sign of life despite being behind by, well, a pretty sizable margin, given that we're still in the early game.
Absolutely. The Queen of Pain, of course, able to get off really, really big AoE spells, get that huge ultimate off, make sure that team fights can still swing in Dignitas' favor if she lands all her spells correctly. And, of course, the Bane is someone who we're not really talking about, but he can swing a lot of fights. And if you're relying on mostly like a solo farming hero like this Troll, I mean, the Bounty Hunter will put out some physical damage. The Timbersaw can be nightmared out. He's not going to be able to BKB anytime soon. Or he can be, stunned out, controlled, slowed. Something can happen to him to make sure that he's not the one, he's not able to get his mobility going as much. And a Fiend's Grip on someone like the Troll in the late game, once he starts getting, plenty of items up, once they're relying on him to put out a lot of their team fight damage, can really swing fights significantly. And the same with the Bat Rider ultimate. So we can't forget that Dignitas really does have a lot of ways to shut down completely 1 or 2 heroes in these fights, and some really, really good AoE potential to swing them around in their direction once they do.
Yep. That's certainly good points to make. I want to talk about some items here. We haven't really reviewed the inventories too much, given how action-packed this match has been. The Troll is now level 11. He's starting to look pretty powerful. He's got the Shadow Blade now to go with his Phase Boots, also an Ogre Club, and probably going to be working towards a BKB would be my best guess here. Looks like Bounty Hunter going to have a Vlad's before too long here, but we're going to see Initiation down around the bottom rune. It's going to be Enchantress to fall first. Chaos Knight can be able to finish him off, but they're going to be able to grab a counter kill onto the Bane. So far, it's a 1-for-1, but Chaos still continuing to erupt. The Bat Rider taking a lot of damage. He's Fireflied on the high ground right now, and he's going to be able to blink to the opposite side of the high ground and will survive. Dignitas actually going to come out ahead as Alchemist does get picked off by the Queen of Pain, and it will be a 1-for-2 again in favor of our dire side. Going to come closer to leveling out that score. Now 11-12 at the 15.5-minute mark, and some more big items maybe picking up to follow. Looks like Timbersaw now going to be closer, well, a bit closer at least to that Bloodstone. Did also go for an early cloak, so probably going to be going for that Bloodstone into pipe build. Very tanky indeed. indeed. Bat Rider is still level 10, but does have the Blink Dagger. He's had it for at least a couple minutes now. He did use it in that last fight to help initiate. Queen of Pain going to go for an Ultimate Orb first to follow up those power treads, so probably going to be working for a fast Linken's would be my best guess. And Chaos Knight, Mr. Bleak over there, is level 11 now, does have the Drum of Endurance, the Magic Wand, as well as his power treads, and already a Helm of Iron Will, so probably going to be working towards that armlet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the armlet definitely going to be next coming out for the Chaos Knight. And what that was in that fight was exactly something I like to point out when there's a Prophet, when there's a Wisp. Any engagement that looks like a good one for you can immediately turn the other way. You have to play completely differently when you have these heroes with global teleportation presence. It just changes the entire... Ooh, 1437 might be in trouble. No, it looks like he's just going to get tracked and then walk away. He could have been in some danger right there, but they decided not to engage.
Yep.
But just you can't rely on, oh, we have a 3v2 right here. Well, now it's a 3v4. You have a Wisp and a Chaos Knight just dropped in on top of you.
Right. Oh, you're exactly right. You've got to play it so much more cautiously and be ready to take these sort of team fights. And that's exactly what Typical Mistakes have been doing. We've noticed throughout this game, they've been either a 4 or 5 man unit for a large portion of this game. They've done a great job grouping up at the right times and then splitting off and still maintaining a pretty high level of farm. And that helps mitigate some of the successfulness of the Wisp. I mean, Wisp really shines when folks are trying to solo farm, and you can pick them off very easily when they're moving around in small groups. And like you said, turning those fights where it starts out even and then the Wisp can bring someone else in and really skew the dynamic of that entire exchange. So you got to give a lot of credit to Pretty Boy Swag here on the Radiant side, well, for just how well they've been controlling the map against this Wisp CK combo. That's going to be the Bloodstone completed on the Timbersaw, and Bounty Hunter has now completed his Vlads to go with his Phase Boot. So those first core items are starting to come out. Looks like Chaos Knight now has the armlet completed. It's in the bank, but he's going to have it on his person pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and despite the fact that there's been a lot of pressure coming on him, he's got a couple of deaths, he's had to show up to several fights, he still has reasonably good creep farm. He's got 103 CS right now, and that's largely because, of course, something that, is always remembered but often goes unmentioned, the fact that Wisp not only gives you the mobility to get into ganks, but he pulls you right back to wherever you were farming before. It's very, very convenient as a carry player. Let me tell you how much fun that is.
Yep. So Bleak actually was sort of where the tier 1 tower would be in the top lane and then ported to the tier 2. I guess he thought impending doom was incoming, so sort of, well, maybe wasting a TP scroll right there a little bit, but no big deal. In the bottom lane, though, Alchemist going to get initiated on. It is going to be the Chaos Knight that comes through. He's going to use the Reality Rift. Will get Concoction to the face, and that is going to slow down this fight. Wisp's going to go ahead and relocate, and they're both going to go back, and that will be the end of the fight. Alchemist going to be able to survive. A nicely timed, unstable Concoction right there. He did pretty much just mitigate everything that the Chaos Knight was trying to put out, but Korok now might be in a little bit of trouble. He is tracked. We see the Timbersaw in hot pursuit. Unfortunately, not going to have enough mobility to finish him off, and Korok is going to be able to make it away. Bat Rider going to venture his way into the mid lane with that Firefly on, and Ryu actually being a little bit bold right here. Looks like he's got his set sight on that Bat Rider and may try to make something happen. Right now, Bat Rider is on the Radiant side of the river with the Timbersaw on the Dire side, and Infinity just going to head up towards that top rune, and he will be just fine, but I thought for a moment there he may get sandwiched between the Bounty Hunter and the Timbersaw. So maybe a stroke of luck coming in, but now Bounty Hunter going to come in. He's going to engage on the Bat Rider, will open with a crit, and going to throw on that track, again, keeping up that vision. One thing that this Bounty Hunter has also been doing very well throughout this match, though I have to admit the gold graph has kind of leveled out, sitting around 6k right now. Dignitas still trailing, but it's been holding steady, and actually the experience advantage going in their favor now at about 2.2k. So I think Typical Mistakes would be wise to continue their aggression here. I mean, maybe stay back and farm that next round of core items, but they're on thin ice right here. The longer they sit back and wait, I think the higher the chances of Dignitas getting back into this match.
To an extent, yes, but I'd actually trust Typical Mistakes lineup. If we're talking carry versus carry, I'll take a Troll over a Chaos Knight in the ultra late game. And also, if the Alchemist starts getting any sort of items in the late game, once if the game goes really late and he gets some farm, he can start picking up a couple of physical damage items, start going for almost a semi-carry Alch out of a support Alch. But then again, of course, you got to remember, they got the Bat Rider on Dignitas, they have the Bane, so it's really hard to judge because it's going to be based completely on whether or not those heroes are able to land their big disables, to pick off the Troll, to control whoever is putting out the most damage in that late game. You can't just say, oh, carry versus carry, when there's big spells like Fiend's Grip, like Lasso, like if there was an Enigma in Black Hole. That completely changes the dynamic of the carry versus carry rating.
Yeah, that's a great point. And one of the things that also makes me nervous about Typical Mistakes now playing this a little bit more passively is there's a couple of key heroes that really change once they get those core items. Bat Rider being one of them. You're never going to stop him from getting that blink. But now that he's got the Force Staff complete and he's level 11, Infinity can now engage and just pull someone out of the fight right away. And this is that time when Bat Rider really starts to get scary. Queen of Pain not going to be going that Lincoln's as I'd suggested. Right now going to be able to right-click a Scythe of Ice, another huge item that's going to change the state of these fights again, taking away from that carry versus carry as you pointed out. So some of these core items are now coming out that make things a little bit more scary. Of course, on the flip side, Typical Mistakes do have some core items of their own, but Dignitas, I think, have the core items that have more of an impact in terms of giving that hero the power they need. And even Chaos Knight, now that he's got those core items and his farm is getting better, he's going to be that much more scary. We're going to see some initiation here, a smoke up from Dignitas, and there you go. Point and Case going to use those new items to pick up a kill on the Enchantress. Queen of Pain going to initiate with the Scythe of Ice. Bat Rider going to blink forward, lasso, and Force Staff backwards. That's going to be a free kill for Dignitas. So it is going to be all tied up here now, 12-12 at the 21-minute mark, as Dignitas, well, starting to turn up the heat a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what they need to do. They just need to hold steady, get farming, and just try to get a little bit out ahead of that Troll. The Troll now barely ahead of the Chaos Knight, only doing it by about 500 gold, where he was up by about 2,000 earlier in the game. Queen of Pain now taking over the top farming spot by just 100 gold over that Troll Warlord. And the Scythe of Ice, man, I think that's such a huge pickup. Not only gives them the extra disable for anyone they need, but I think the biggest one is for the Timber Saw. And nice bailout by that Wisp. I think they might be going in to try and... No, they're just going to sacrifice the Wisp. Yep. They ported a couple people up there. It looked like maybe they wanted to try and get there in time to re-engage, but I think the Wisp is just going to die. Yeah.
4-1-4-3-7. It was a noble effort, though. The Chaos Knight was certain to die if Wisp didn't do that, and Wisp probably would have died anyhow, so definitely a worthwhile exchange. But kind of a free kill going the way of our Radiant side. Now going to be 13-12 from the 22-minute mark. Oh god, pardon me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. One scary facet of this match, though, is that Dignitas is just now picking up their first tower kill at the 22-minute mark. It is going to be the Tier 1 tower in the mid lane, as Typical Mistakes do group up towards the top to take out the the second to last remaining Tier 2 tower for Dignitas. Their Tier 2 in the top lane, and their Tier 2 in the mid is still remaining. So we see... Pretty Boy Swag really losing a little bit of that momentum they had earlier on. For a while, they just have that kind of 5-man Dota strategy that was working so well for them, and here they're forced to be just a little bit more passive, and I think they're waiting for Dignitas to step too far forward, but Dignitas playing this very wisely as well, trying to make the best of their farm about the map, but also really not giving Typical Mistakes any opportunity to pick them off, solo. Well, I guess less that last Wisp kill, but all in all, they've been doing a great job, not getting engaged upon against this aggressive roster.
Oh, here we go. We might have an engagement right here. Phantasma's pop.
Looks like there is going to be an engagement indeed. The Chaos Knight ulti going to be used. They're going to go in. Queen of Pain going to be able to finish off the Bounty Hunter before the fight even really starts. So Dignitas off to a good start here. Bleak just tanking everything. He is taking a lot of damage. Is finally going to fall. Queen of Pain now going to burn the ultimate. And it's looking great for Dignitas. Enchantress, the only one left alive. It's going to be a 2 for 4. And that's going to be a clean sweep. It looks like all 5 of Typical Mistakes going to get taken out. Dignitas will lose a couple of their own. They are going to lose their Bat Rider and Wisp. Chaos Knight went down as well, but he did buy back. Looks like Timbersaw not going to buy back. Did have that Bloodstone. So, of course, those charges are going to bring him back very quickly here. But Dignitas getting the slight advantage from that fight. Now 17-16, 24 minutes in.
That Korok Queen of Pain, man, is doing so much work. That Scythe of Vice has been such a huge pickup right now. I think that's honestly why Typical Mistakes was so afraid, it seems, to engage into the team of Dignitas, is because they knew that Scythe of Vice is going to be a huge problem for the Timbersaw. Previously, if you burn the Fiend Script on the Timbersaw, then not only, of course, are there a couple good ways to slow it down, or if you burn the lasso on the Timbersaw or something, it's easy for him to get out as long as he lives. He's reasonably tanky. He's got the hit points. He's got the armor to live through things, but a Scythe of Ice can be burned on him to kind of try to focus him down or take him out of the fight for a little bit. You can save those good pickoffs for other heroes. You don't need to worry as much about the Timbersaw, because if you drag someone else back in, like say you grab the Troll, or you grab the Bounty Hunter, and you drag them in, then the Timbersaw comes in and immediately gets sheeped as he's trying to Timber Chain himself in. And in the time that he's sheeped, you can kill off whoever you dragged in and probably put some good damage into everyone else as well. So that, I mean, I just can't emphasize enough how important that Scythe is and how powerful it is right now for this Dignitas lineup, especially because there's only one BKB on Typical Mistakes on that Troll Warlord.
Yep. You're exactly right about that. And speaking of other item pickups, I think that's one of the only big ones to follow that fight. But we'll hold that thought as Bat Rider going to be in a little bit of trouble. Infinity was just farming in the jungle. Is going to be able to force staff forward, almost getting that blink cooldown, about half a second left, and he does get clipped by the Timber Saw, and that is going to secure the kill. So our Radiant side going to be able to grab an easy kill right there. But Enchantress going to get picked off in the Radiant jungle while all that was going on. Looks like CK Wisp as well as Korok were able to make that happen. So it is going to be a 1-for-1 Enchantress for the Bat Rider, sort of an alternate spot on the map, kind of a break even. Still Dignitas leading by 1 kill, but we're going to see B-Diz get caught. Oh, that poor Bane. B-Diz just struggling so much in this match. He's been killed 6 times now, but Chaos going to erupt. Bane is still dead. Right now it's Jesus Christ. Typical mistakes getting cleaned up right here. Only 2 left alive. It is going to be the Troll Warlord as well as the Timbersaw, but it looks like Timbersaw going to be in big trouble. He is going to be able to commit suicide, compliments of that Bloodstone, but wow, that just got bad quickly. It looked like a pretty even engage to start things off. The Wisp bought back, and then things just started to crumble for Typical mistakes. Troll Warlord the only one surviving because he wasn't there.
Korok really starting to go off right here. He's sitting at 13,000 net worth. He is 9-1. Picks up an Orchid to go with that sheep stick. 167 creeps, 9 kills, 7 assists. This is a farmed and active Queen of Pain, and she is really, I mean, at the start of the game when we were seeing Dignitas kind of start to swing things around, it was all because of big Queen of Pain ultimates, big Queen of Pain plays. She was the one getting a lot of this work done. There were, of course, good plays coming out from other members of the team as well, but I'd really put the swing in this match on Korok landing a lot of really good stuff. And now look how farmed he is to make up for it. And he's actually swinging really hard. 215 damage on that Queen of Pain.
Exactly right. Queen of Pain, one of those heroes that, although intellect can sort of snowball into a little bit of a carry, sort of similar flavor to the Priestess of the Moon, Mirana. If she gets all that early farm and carries that momentum, not really a hard carry by most definitions, but certainly can play that role if farm allows, and Queen of Pain is getting right there. It's one of the things I love about the Orchid. It makes that right-click auto attack so much more powerful, the attack speed as well, and of course, just the Soul Burn ability is absolutely incredible and will make setting up those kills that much more easy. One good thing for Typical mistakes here, though, they're going to be able to grab the first Roshan kill of the game here at the 28-minute mark. They are going to put the Aegis onto the Troll Warlord, and it looks like they are going to get aggressive here. All 5 of them grouped up about the mid lane. Looks like they're hungry for blood, and this Tier 2 tower is in their way. Flame Break going to come in from the Bat Rider, not going to connect with anyone, and I think they're going to be able to just chip down this Tier 2 tower, and, well, both sides just going to be looking for an opportunity to take a fight. At this stage, it's really all about initiation. Both sides are pretty farmed. It's pretty even. That gold graph, only a differential of about 2,500 gold, experienced the way of Dignitas by about 7,500. So at this point, it's really all about initiation, especially with that Bat Rider. Can Infinity grab one and set up this fight, or is Dignitas going to get initiated on first? Wisp actually going to take a track right here. Looks like they almost had an opportunity, but not going to go for it. That Acid Spray going to cover the tower, and Typical mistakes just have kind of superior poke here in this situation, in my opinion, to try to borrow a term from League of Legends.
Maybe a little bit. I think the Enfeeble's going to be a big deal, though.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The Acid Spray in this situation is just helping so much. But whoa, there it is. The burst damage coming out onto the Alchemist as Bleak on that Chaos Knight comes in. Queen of Pain going to follow up. It's looking great for Dignitas. They are going to lose their Wisp, but they're going to be able to finish off the Enchantress and the Alchemist to get this fight started. Bat Rider now going to be able to finish off the Timber Saw. They're going to be able to kill the Troll as well. He has the Aegis, going to come right back. Bounty Hunter going to be the only survivor here. It looks like Troll going to get taken out right away, and Cakes is just going to run away. Compliments of that invisibility. Bounty Hunter does now have a BKB recipe in the bank, but wow, talk about a convincing team fight. Dignitas now taking command of this game. I think they may take the gold lead once the graph updates, and they have a huge experience lead now of about 12,000. I think Dignitas might be able to do it here. They're going to be able to grab a Tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Not going to have enough time to Rax. We're going to see a lot of the TM folks coming up in just a couple of seconds here, but they should be able to at least pressure this Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they may. I actually really thought they were going to get it. Doesn't look like it. It looks like they are going to get the top Tier 1, though. Yeah. Is most likely going to fall with the rotation. But they decided to kind of split up a little bit, not really commit to one lane, didn't want to get caught. I think the idea being they didn't really want to commit particularly hard because the respawn timers were kind of short, because most of their ultimates are down. They don't want to get caught in a bad fight for them, especially because all the ultimates on TM are very, very low cooldown. I mean, nothing here is like, oh, we have this big ultimate that lets us fight. Your longest cooldown ultimate is the Chemical Rage on the Alchemist. That is obviously, you know, something that has something like a 66% uptime.
Yeah.
At higher levels, I believe it's a little more than 50%, like 55% uptime.
Yep.
Oh, Alchemist in trouble.
Yeah, speaking of uptime, Alchemist not going to be up for long. Is Korok going to be able to hop in and finish him off? Really not too difficult with the Sheep Stick and the Orchid. It makes Korok's life a little bit easier there, and unfortunately the Alchemist is going to pay the ultimate price, so even better news for Dignitas. Speaking of that Tier 1 tower in the top lane, it did go down, but it was actually denied by the Timbersaw, so that's a little bit unfortunate for Dignitas as well. Still only 2 towers down, one of which has been denied. Though it looks like the aggression going to continue here. Korok going to be able to grab a double damage on that Queen of Pain. Is going to find Troll in the jungle. We're going to see Infinity on the Batrider. Blink forward is going to be able to burn a dust, and they're going to engage on this Troll. The Wisp going to bring in the Chaos Knight. That's going to be an easy kill there. And now going to be 27-19 at the 31-minute mark. And also Dignitas going to be able to fashion themselves a Tier 1 tower kill in the bottom lane. So all of a sudden, there's just a huge eruption of momentum, and Dignitas just completely taking command of this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's now, I mentioned only 1 BKB on typical mistakes. We're now up to 3, both the Bounty Hunter and the Timbersaw picking one up. And I think it's largely because they're so terrified of Korok. I mean, they don't want to get that Orchid slammed on them. They want to be able to BKB out of it if they do. They don't want to get sheeped up by that Scythe of Ice.
Right.
I mean, and even though there's really good ways to deal with that BKB on Dignitas, it means that now they actually have to think about spreading those around. They can't focus them all on the Troll. Maybe Typical Mistakes just thinks, hey, if we can actually get, not just immediately focus down while we're all disabled, we have a good chance in these fights. And we'll see how that goes for them. Although Korok now has picked up his own BKB.
Yep.
So that is pretty dangerous for them, because without that Timbersaw damage, I'm not sure they can bring him down.
Yeah, exactly right. He's already a scary force, and now the BKB can give him some damage and a good bit of additional survivability. Chaos Knight getting a little bit scarier now as well. He does have a Reaver, and I think that's probably going to turn into a Satanic. Could be a hard to Tarrasque, but I was thinking to myself a while ago, he really should pick up some lifesteal. In these team fights, he's that tanky force. He's the one that's in the front lines, and I think he'd be well advised to grab himself a Helm of the Dominator. Even if that is going to be a heart, grab that Helm of the Dominator for a little bit of extra armor. That certainly can't hurt, but just the lifesteal would go so far for sustainability.
It's the heart.
In these upcoming fights, it is going to be a heart.
Yeah, he's got the vitality booster on the courier.
Oh, yes, indeed it is. So, that's where they went. Timbersaw going to get destroyed there. Korok going to be able to initiate, and the Wisp Chaos Knight going to be able to follow up, and that's going to be another easy kill on the side of Team Dignitas.
And one of the nice things about the heart is, as long as you're not getting hit by heroes or towers, it lets you perma run that armlet, which is kind of awesome for pushing and for just bringing down towers a lot more quickly, and not worrying about, I've kind of drained myself out. I need to worry about, am I actually in good shape to engage for a team fight? You're always in good shape once you have the heart, because the armlet HP loss doesn't stop that heart regen.
Right, that's a good thing to point out. Now, one of the other big item pickups, Sheep, the Enchantress on our Radiant side, does now have the Og Scepter complete to go with the Power Treads and Magic Wand here at the 33-minute mark. So, always a big milestone for the Enchantress. The Ogs is absolutely huge for that ulti. That's where all of her damage comes from, kind of at this point in the game, and certainly later on. So, well, good news for Typical Mistakes, but Dignitas now going to be able to level out the tower count. Actually going to take the tower lead. They've taken out 5 of the outer towers. And, they're going to get initiated on here in the mid lane, so they did take out that Tier 2 tower. Korok going to be the target of choice. He's going to be forced to burn that BKB, but is going to be able to blink backwards. Bane going to be able to use a Nightmare, Shadow's Fiend, or Fiend's Grip combo across the Alchemist as well as the Timbersaw, and that's going to help keep the Queen of Pain alive and keep them both disabled. All that while all that was happening, Dignitas was just cleaning up the rest of the team, the Troll, the Alchemist, as well as the Enchantress, and that is just going to be total domination. Dignitas going to take a clean sweep, 5-0 in that mid lane. That Bane play, man, that was clutch.
It really was, but I mean, just look, they went in so hard on Korok. I said, I'm not sure they can bring him down anymore. They went in so hard, and they couldn't get him. And then by the time they, committed so hard on him, they were out of position. Chaos Knight just comes in the back, gets a triple kill with all that farm he's managed to pick up. Dignitas going to take this Rax, and I think that with the advantage they're starting to cement, it's going to look closer and closer to GG here.
Yeah. Absolutely right, and I was thinking perhaps Typical Mistakes may want to tap out there, but this is a best-of-1 match. I believe this is still group play. I actually couldn't find the bracket on the MLG website, but they do have it in the schedule. The first 2 matches are both best-of-1s to finish out the group stages, so this is just a one-game series. There's no, just tap out, don't ruin your morale, get them next game. There's just one, so I think they may be hanging in here until the bitter end, but it is indeed looking pretty grim. Dignitas now going to grab the gold lead, really for the first time in this match, leading by about 10,000 gold in the experience graph, even worse, about 22,000 here at the 35-minute mark, 33-20. We are going to move into another pause. Again, Wisp going to be disconnected, but Dignitas have now taken out that mid lane of Rax, and they've rotated to the top lane here. And already that tier 3 taking a lot of damage. The glyph is down for typical mistakes. And Timbersaw going to be dead for another 15 seconds. Troll down for another 3. So Dignitas may be able to at least grab the tier 3 tower here in the top lane as well. So a great team fight and quite a bit of follow-up coming the way of our Dire side as well.
Yeah, maybe Dignitas doesn't really want to pressure this too hard. Obviously, they're kind of at low health. Korok's ultimate is down. Chaos Knight's ultimate is down. Bane's ultimate is down. They do have to worry a little bit if they commit over much to this. But then again, the Chaos Knight, very, very hard to bring down. 3,500 life when he has that armlet toggled on. Still has a drum charge at this point in the game. So they have that if they need just a little extra move speed or attack speed to try and finish stuff off. It looks like the Enchantress and the Bounty Hunter want to try and come up and slow this down. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to do until the Troll is back up. But we'll see. Maybe when the Troll's back up and the Battle Trance flies, the impetus damage will just be too much. Maybe they'll actually manage to pick someone off right here.
Yep, certainly could be possible. We'll see. We are going to resume now. Still, the Troll going to be popping up in just a second here. Bounty Hunter going to be doing a lot of damage onto the Bat Rider. Bat Rider going to be forced to force staff backwards. The tier 3 tower in the top lane does go down. Chaos Knight just chopping away at that melee barracks, but not going to be able to finish it off. Does not have the ulti right now, and he's just going to pour it out. Chaos Knight has now also finished up that Heart of Tarask. Bane going to be able to grab a Blink Dagger to follow that team fight, and Queen of Pain going to grab another ultimate orb here. So I reckon that's probably going to be a Scotty, but we'll see where he wants to go with it. They're going to continue to initiate here. Queen of Pain going to be able to grab the Alchemist, and now the Wisp looking like he's going to be in trouble as well. Enchantress now going to fall as they do exchange a 2-for-1. Wisp gets taken out in exchange for the Enchantress and the Alchemist. So not too bad for Dignitas. Korok still being kind of the driving force. He's going to catch the Bounty Hunter. That's going to be a Sheep Orchid combo. He's going to blow the ulti and everything. And he's going to be able to grab that kill. Well, actually didn't even have to use the Orchid. Going to throw it on the Timbersaw. Timbersaw going to BKB out of it right away. But now Bat Rider going to come down. He's going to use the lasso onto the Troll while Queen of Pain gets a couple of right clicks off. That'll be the end of the Troll Warlord. Now we're going to see the Timbersaw in a little bit of trouble, and that's going to be enough. Typical mistakes going to tap out as Korok grabs a Rampage to finish off the match. 16-1-12. On that Queen of Pain. He was involved in 28 of the 38 kills in that 36-minute match. Dignitas going to take it 38-21. Wow. Korok showing us what his Queen of Pain is all about, man.
Korok always been a very, very good Queen of Pain player. And, you know, like I said, they turned it around with a couple of big ultimates from him. The Chaos Knight got the farm he needed. They did a lot of great work to stop TM from just kind of running over them in that early game. It was just, you know, TM, 5-man and maybe a little too much, not getting the experience they needed. And Dignitas really took advantage of it. Well played on their end.
Mm-hmm.